When we talk about diabetes, most people immediately think about sugar. They think about how much sugar is in the food they eat, how much sugar shows up on a lab test, or how sugar damages the body over time. But very few people pause to ask, why is my body unable to handle sugar in the first place? That question leads us straight to magnesium, one of the most overlooked minerals in modern nutrition. Magnesium is not glamorous like protein powders or antioxidant-rich superfruits. It does not make the headlines in wellness magazines. Yet it quietly plays one of the most essential roles in your body's ability to regulate blood sugar, protect your pancreas, and keep your energy stable throughout the day. Think of magnesium as the conductor of an orchestra. Without it, the musicians, the hormones, enzymes, and cellular processes start to fall out of rhythm. One of its most important jobs is to activate the receptors that allow insulin, your blood sugar controlling hormone, to do its work effectively. Insulin is like a key, but magnesium helps keep the lock well oiled. If the lock jams, sugar stays in the bloodstream instead of being ushered into the cells where it can be used for energy. Over time, this is how insulin resistance develops. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen only because you ate a slice of cake. It happens gradually. When the body is starved of the raw materials, it needs to keep its metabolic machinery running smoothly. Now, here's the truth that many physicians quietly acknowledge: magnesium deficiency is far more common than most people realize. Modern agriculture has depleted our soils, processed foods strip away minerals, and stress further drains the body of magnesium. Add to that the fact that people with diabetes naturally excrete more magnesium through urine, and you begin to see a vicious cycle. Low magnesium makes it harder to regulate blood sugar, which increases the likelihood of diabetes, which in turn depletes magnesium even further. It is like running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up, no matter how exhausted you feel. But here is the hopeful side of the story. Correcting magnesium deficiency has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and lower the risk of type 2 diabetes. It's as though you give the key back to insulin and suddenly the door to energy opens again. Blood sugar levels stabilize, cravings calm down, and the constant roller coaster of fatigue and hunger begins to smooth out. When your body feels supported on a cellular level, you stop fighting it every day. Instead, you move in harmony with it. There is also a psychological lesson here. When people think about health, they often imagine it as a battle of willpower, fighting against cravings, forcing themselves into diets, punishing themselves for slip-ups. But the truth is that biology shapes psychology. When your cells are deficient in a vital nutrient, your mind interprets it as fatigue, irritability, or hunger. What feels like a lack of discipline is often simply a lack of nourishment. Magnesium teaches us that self-control is not just about character, it is about chemistry. When the body is given what it needs, the mind finds balance more easily. Philosophically, I think of magnesium as a symbol of humility in nature. It is invisible, tasteless, and silent, yet without it, the entire system collapses. In our pursuit of flashy diets and miracle cures, we often overlook the quiet foundations of health. Magnesium reminds us that true strength comes not from what is obvious, but from what is subtle. It teaches us that life is sustained not only by dramatic choices, but by the small, consistent acts of nourishment we give ourselves each day. So when we talk about diabetes prevention and healing, magnesium is not just a nutrient on a chart. It is a bridge. It connects your daily choices with your long-term health. It connects your body's hidden processes with the way you feel when you wake up in the morning. And perhaps most importantly, it connects the idea of control, not as something you exert against yourself, but as something you restore within yourself. I want you to leave with this thought. If you are struggling with blood sugar, do not simply see it as a problem of sugar. See it as a whisper from your body that it is missing something essential. Give it back the mineral it craves, and watch how the entire system begins to realign itself. Because when you restore magnesium, you don't just regulate sugar. You reclaim energy, clarity, and balance. And that, more than any prescription, is the beginning of real healing. When we think of testosterone, The conversation usually drifts toward images of masculinity, muscle, energy, drive, confidence. But testosterone is not just about physical strength or sexual vitality. It is about the very spark of life force that keeps a man feeling purposeful and resilient. For women too, balanced testosterone contributes to energy, bone strength, and overall vitality. Yet what most people don't realize is that this powerful hormone does not exist in isolation. It is deeply influenced by nutrition, and one of its quiet but crucial allies is magnesium. Magnesium acts like a guardian of testosterone, protecting it from being bound up and rendered inactive. In the bloodstream, much of our testosterone is tied to proteins that make it unavailable for the body to use. Magnesium has the unique ability to free some of that testosterone, increasing the amount that is biologically active. Imagine owning a treasure chest full of gold but being unable to open the lock. That is what happens when testosterone is bound and inaccessible. Magnesium is the key that helps unlock it, allowing the hormone to do its job, strengthening muscles, fueling libido, sharpening focus, and instilling a sense of vitality. This connection between magnesium and testosterone becomes even more critical as we age. Many men notice a gradual decline in energy and motivation after their 30s or 40s. They assume it is simply the natural course of aging, but research tells us otherwise. Low testosterone is not just about birthdays, it is about lifestyle and nutrient status. Stress, poor sleep, processed foods, and mineral deficiencies conspire to lower hormone production and activity. When magnesium levels drop, the decline accelerates. It is like removing a support beam from a house. You may not see the collapse right away, but the structure weakens over time. What I find most fascinating is how this single mineral connects the physical with the psychological. Testosterone is not only a hormone of the body, it is also a hormone of the spirit. It governs motivation, competitiveness, assertiveness, and even our willingness to take on challenges. When testosterone falls, men often describe feeling flat, less ambitious, less driven to pursue goals. This is not a character flaw, it is chemistry. And when we restore magnesium, we often see the psychological fire begin to rekindle. The body gains strength, yes, but so does the mind. That spark of determination, that feeling of being alive and engaged returns. Philosophically, I like to think of magnesium as a reminder that true vitality is not about force, but about balance. Testosterone, when unregulated, can lead to aggression or impulsivity. But when supported by magnesium, it expresses itself as healthy confidence and grounded energy. It becomes not just the fuel for physical power, but also the foundation for emotional stability and resilience. In this way, magnesium is not only a nutrient for the body, but also a teacher for the soul. It shows us that strength without balance is destructive, while strength with balance is creative and life-giving. Now, let's consider the broader implication of this. In today's world, many men chase external solutions for declining testosterone. Pills, injections, quick fixes that promise to restore youth. But the body is wiser than we give it credit for. It doesn't want artificial shortcuts. It wants support. It wants the raw materials to do the job it was designed to do. Magnesium-rich foods offer that support. They are nature's way of saying, you are not broken. You are simply undernourished. By giving your body magnesium, you are not adding something foreign. You are restoring something that was missing all along. And here lies a deeper psychological truth. When we take responsibility for our health, when we choose foods that replenish rather than deplete, we send a message to ourselves, I am worth caring for. That message is powerful. It shifts us from being passive victims of aging to active participants in our vitality. Testosterone, fueled by magnesium, becomes more than a hormone. It becomes a symbol of how we engage with life, strong, balanced, and fully awake. So the next time you feel your energy slipping or you find yourself saying, maybe this is just what getting older feels like, pause for a moment. Ask yourself whether it is really age or whether it is a lack of nourishment. Because vitality does not vanish overnight. It fades slowly when we neglect the quiet allies that keep us strong. Magnesium is one of those allies. Restore it, and you don't just restore a mineral, you restore your spark. And that is the thought I want to leave you with: strength. is not lost with age. It is lost with neglect. Feed your body what it truly needs and watch as the flame of vitality burns steady. Once again, we've talked about how magnesium supports blood sugar control and how it empowers testosterone. But the question people always ask me next is very practical. Where do I actually get it from? And this is where I always remind my audience that nature is the best pharmacy we will ever have. Long before supplements came in capsules or powders, long before health fads promised quick results, food itself was the medicine that shaped our survival. The top sources of magnesium are not exotic, hard to find ingredients. They are everyday foods that can sit right on your dinner table, if only you choose to let them. Think for a moment about spinach. It looks simple, just a green leafy vegetable that many of us were forced to eat as kids. But inside those leaves lies a powerful storehouse of magnesium, chlorophyll, and antioxidants. Eating spinach regularly is like giving your cells the minerals they have been begging for. Then you have almonds and cashews, tiny packages of healthy fats and magnesium that fit into your pocket. Instead of reaching for chips or candy in the afternoon, a handful of nuts can steady your blood sugar, calm your cravings, and quietly protect your hormonal balance. Pumpkin seeds are another treasure, often discarded, but actually one of the most concentrated sources of magnesium on Earth. I sometimes tell people that these seeds are like little coins of vitality. Roast them lightly, sprinkle them on a salad, or eat them plain, and you are essentially fueling both your pancreas and your testosterone at the same time. And then, of course, there is dark chocolate. Not the sugar-laden candy bars we see at the checkout line, but real, bitter, high cocoa chocolate. This is not just an indulgence, it is medicine disguised as pleasure, magnesium flavonoids, and a sense of comfort all wrapped into one. Avocados, with their creamy texture, are another ally. They bring not just magnesium, but also potassium and heart-healthy fats. When paired with beans, like black beans or kidney beans, you begin to see how entire cultures built their longevity on simple, plant-based staples that supplied the minerals modern diets now lack. Add bananas for a natural sweetness, tofu for plant-based protein, and fatty fish like mackerel or salmon, and you have a full menu of foods that not only satisfy hunger but nourish vitality. What is most striking to me is how accessible these foods are. They are not locked away in some expensive health store or reserved for people with elite knowledge. They sit quietly in your local market, waiting for you to notice them. And yet, because they do not advertise themselves, we walk past them in search of something more exciting, more processed, more immediate. This is the irony of modern health. We ignore the foods that heal us in favor of foods that harm us. Psychologically, food choices are often framed as battles of discipline. People say, I don't have the willpower to eat healthy. But in reality, it is not about willpower. It is about awareness. When you begin to see almonds as medicine, when you look at spinach and understand that it can lower your blood sugar and stabilize your mood, the choice no longer feels like a chore. It becomes a form of self-respect. You are not punishing yourself with healthy foods. You are honoring yourself with the nutrients that make life vibrant. Philosophically, I see this as a deeper shift in how we relate to food. Instead of thinking of meals as transactions, calories in, energy out, we can view them as conversations with our own biology. Every bite you take is a message to your cells. When you eat magnesium-rich foods, the message is, I care about your stability. I want you to thrive. When you eat processed, nutrient-depleted foods, the message is indifference, even neglect. Over time, the body responds to those messages. It either rewards you with energy, strength, and clarity, or it burdens you with fatigue, imbalance, and disease. That is why I like to call this list of magnesium-rich foods a daily medicine chest. You don't need to memorize complicated numbers or chase after miracle cures. You simply need to integrate these 10 foods into your daily life. Put spinach in your morning omelet, grab a banana with breakfast, keep almonds in your bag. Enjoy avocado on whole grain toast, make beans part of dinner, and allow yourself a piece of dark chocolate in the evening. These small acts, done consistently, accumulate into powerful change. So let us return to the question, where do we get magnesium? We get it from the wisdom of nature, from foods that are both ancient and accessible, from the very staples that nourished generations before us. They are here, they are simple, and they are waiting. And I want to leave you with this thought. Every time you sit down to eat, you have the chance to either fuel disease or build resilience. Choose the foods that whisper strength into your cells, and you will discover that true medicine has always been on your plate. We have looked at how magnesium helps regulate blood sugar, how it fuels testosterone, and how it is delivered through the foods nature has always provided us. But I want to take us one step further, because health is never just about a single nutrient or a single food. Magnesium is powerful, yes, but its true potential is unlocked only when it is placed inside a lifestyle that honors balance. Minerals, hormones, and blood sugar do not live in isolation. They are woven into the fabric of how we move, how we rest, how we think, and how we respond to the world around us. Consider sleep. When you are deprived of rest, your cortisol levels rise. Cortisol is a stress hormone that not only makes you feel anxious, but also pushes your blood sugar higher and weakens testosterone. Magnesium, as we know, calms the nervous system, eases the muscles, and helps you slip into deeper, more restorative sleep. But the cycle only completes itself if you actually give your body permission to rest. You can eat spinach, almonds, and pumpkin seeds all day long, but if you spend your nights scrolling on a glowing screen and robbing yourself of sleep, you are only giving magnesium half a chance to work. The same is true for movement. Magnesium helps muscles contract and relax. It fuels energy metabolism inside the cells. But if the muscles are never used, if the body is never challenged, then that mineral has no real arena in which to express its power. A 20-minute walk, a few minutes of strength training, or even stretching before bed transforms magnesium from a silent nutrient into an active partner in your vitality. The mineral is the spark, movement is the flame. Stress management is another piece of the puzzle. Under constant stress, the body burns through magnesium stores more quickly. That means the very people who need magnesium the most are often the ones losing it the fastest. This is why practices like deep breathing, meditation, or even a quiet walk in nature are not luxuries. They are necessities. They slow the leak, they conserve the nutrient, and they remind us that health is not just biochemical, but also emotional and spiritual. Philosophically, I think of this bigger picture as a lesson in wholeness. We live in a culture that loves to isolate variables. We ask, what's the one nutrient I need to fix my problem? Or, what's the one exercise that will give me results? But the body does not think in fragments. It thinks in systems. Magnesium works not as a lone warrior, but as part of a larger orchestra, alongside water, sleep, movement, and mindset. To treat it as a magic bullet is to miss the deeper wisdom of how life sustains itself. There is also a profound psychological truth hidden here. Many people struggle with health because they see it as a burden, a list of rules, restrictions, and sacrifices. But when you zoom out, you realize that these habits are not chains, they are freedoms. Choosing magnesium-rich foods, prioritizing sleep, exercising, and managing stress are not acts of deprivation. They are acts of empowerment. They return you to the driver's seat of your life. They allow you to feel that your health is not slipping away from you, but growing within you. And this shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of asking, how do I fight disease? You begin to ask, how do I create health? Instead of fearing decline, you start cultivating vitality. The foods you eat, the hours you sleep, the breaths you take, and the way you move all become expressions of self-respect. Magnesium is simply one of the most tangible, scientifically grounded entry points into that larger philosophy. So when we step back and look at the big picture, the message is simple. Magnesium is a doorway, but you must walk through it with your whole lifestyle. It is the spark, but you must feed the flame with sleep, movement, water, and calm. This is not about perfection. It is about alignment. When the small, daily pieces of your life align with the way your body was designed to function, resilience becomes natural. Energy becomes natural. Healing becomes natural. And that is where I want to leave you. Health is not about chasing shortcuts or waiting for crisis to force change. It is about daily choices that over time create an unshakable foundation. Magnesium may be the quiet mineral that starts the conversation, but the real story is how you choose to live once you know the truth. So let me give you this thought to carry home. You do not need to wait for illness to teach you what balance feels like. You can choose it now. Nourish yourself with the foods of nature, honor your body with rest and movement, calm your mind with stillness, and let magnesium remind you of the deeper truth that strength, vitality, and resilience are not given by chance. They are built by choice.